He was seen wandering down the street, wearing some whitey tighties and white boots. Lil Nas X, hospitalized for possible overdose. Lies. Let him out the hospital. Unless they got a treatment for lack of talent. That's what he was hospitalized for, lack of talent. Trying to pull publicity stunts again like he does every few years, every so often, because nobody's paying attention to him. I don't care if Old Town Road was the biggest song in Billboard history.
If that Lil Nas situation don't teach y'all nothing else, especially for the gay community, take it from me. Take it from me. Don't ever prioritize that punk shit. Do not, under no circumstances, prioritize that punk shit. I don't care what nobody tell you. I don't give a fuck what you think you see. All of that shit can wait. I mean, that shit can wait. I mean, it can wait. All of that, the clubs, the parties, the gay prides, all of that punk shit can wait. Prioritize your career, being successful, being the best fucking version of yourself.
Hi everyone, it is Princess Ariel, and I am just, after watching the whole thing with Lil Nas X play out, the commentary that's coming in on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube is just toxic and crazy. And I wanted to just add on to the conversation of mental health awareness and watching these young people talk about Lil Nas X in the context of the PUNK punks, or as someone who is, you know, a person that's in the industry that shouldn't be there. I just feel like all of it is irrelevant, because regardless of what's going on in your minds about if you don't like him or you're being just a toxic masculine individual, the boy was in a mental health state of some sort. Induced state, it's still mental health. You know, if he's under influence, it's mental health. If he's in crisis, it's mental health. Whoever was filming it and allowing it to play out, thank God we all was there and could send prayers and blessings, and thank God the police officers didn't do any harm to him in that state. And I just want to remind you guys very much about being aware of people when they're in crisis, and understanding that it's a crisis going on and not their career or their personal sexual status. It's that all of that stuff is out the window when you're in crisis, and you have to have some humanity as black young men and black young women. To stick a camera in your face and start talking toxically about somebody is not doing nothing but showing who you are as a human being. And I understand some of y'all were raised by wolves. I get that. And it's easier to show your true colors behind the camera and say whatever you want. But at the end of the day, mental health awareness is so important, especially in black spaces. And, you know, just speaking from my own personal experiences, living in Florida away from my family and trying to live my life, ended up in a situation where I was, you know, on a date with someone who took advantage of the situation, and then there I was in a crisis. The aftermath of it, I survived, but I had to think to myself, do I call the police? Who do I call to when I'm in crisis? I've invited this person into my home. They've shown their true colors. I had to do whatever just to stay alive and get them out of my house. Who do you call when you're in crisis? When you're having a mental health moment and you're in fear and you don't know who to call? And in the back of my mind, I remembered someone from the community had said, don't call the police, because if they find out you're trans or you're gay or something like that, they won't help you. Well, my neighbors were right next door, who were a lesbian couple, were police officers. I had to think twice to even tell them, and I didn't, out of fear that maybe they're not my friends. Maybe they're going to turn on me and then blame me for the whole incident, and then I get charged or something like that, even though it was just a casual date. Nothing was really supposed to happen other than, casualties. But someone took it to an extreme. And I say all that to say is that it took me almost a year and a half of guilt and shame and blaming myself and having some of my friends blame me when I told them what had happened, that I was alone in this situation. I didn't have no support system. And my mental health was affected by that. The way that I looked at the world was affected by it. The way I looked at any man was affected, whether you were gay, straight, bi, or anything in between, DL, it didn't matter. You all look like monsters to me at the end of the day because of what that person did to me. And because I was in this kind of a frame, a lot smaller back then, thank you, Jesus, I really knew my skin color was going to come into play, how people responded to me as they responded to Lil Nas X, who is a dark-skinned, black male entertainer. And a lot of times, we as dark-skinned people are considered less than on that color wheel that y'all will not let go. That non-existent color wheel that y'all just keep clinging on to. And everything that's coming out of your mouth tells me that you have a mindset that feels that you don't feel good about yourself. That's why it's easy for you to say bad things about him when he's clearly in a crisis. Listen to what you're saying and what's coming out of your mouth is toxic and crazy. And the world is going to remember you for how you thought about another human being when they're in crisis. Now, had it been somebody that you liked, non-melanated, you'd be out there crying and praying and on your knees and trying to Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, and help them at all costs. But when it comes to your own African American people, you turn on them like a barrel of rattlesnakes. I'll never forget when Whitney Houston died. And right up at the time when she was visibly being attacked by the media as this horrible bad person because she clearly was having a mental health crisis. Her and her husband was in a mental health crisis, and people started tearing her apart. And I hate to say it was people who were like us, brown. This is a brown conversation, so I want to make sure I'm centering this with us, brown people. I don't care what your background, your race, or whatever that's out the door. We need to really work harder at supporting each other, loving each other, and acknowledging when someone is in a crisis situation that you, as a human being, show some empathy for somebody in your life, other than other races of people. Because playing into racism and colorism is what's gotten us to Project 2025. I hate to tell you that. And it don't care what your skin tone is. It doesn't care that you have mixed race children in your family. It doesn't care that you're biracial. The goal is to dismantle your wealth and to get you all the way back to the 1800s out there on that cotton field and doing what they tell you to do, or exterminating you altogether through Project Esther. If you are the LGBT Levitical community, they're just going to exterminate your ass altogether. So while you're sitting on this thing making fun of Lil Nas X and being toxic and masculine crazy, always know that the administration at hand is coming for you too. Not just the community at large, which I'm talking about the LGBT, but all of us. Every single one of us, they want us gone. They do not want you here. So you can kowtow to them, beg, and act like you're just so in love with whoever your non-melanated person is. That is not going to save you at this point. You better figure out what you're going to do and find your core party of people to get together with, and make sure that you're ready and you don't have to get ready no matter what's going on. And all the little dog whistles of they're coming to get you or whatever. Let them. Death is coming to everybody, I promise you. And whatever wealth or whatever you own, whatever house you live in, it's not coming with you to where you're going to. So that's always something to reconsider. And it doesn't matter how old you are, if you're a baby, if you're a little kid or anything. And sitting there crying about one group of people that you only care about them because they're being starved out and they're being bombed and everything like that is not going to save you. And if you're genuine about that, then good for you. And always remember, right next door over there across the pond over in Africa, the same thing is happening to those very dark-skinned children as well. And over there in Asia, and over there in India. But you can only do one thing, and your brain is so limited, you can only care about one thing at a time. And then when you see something right on the cusp of folding out right in front of your face for you to fall in, all of you gonna fall right in that hole together. All of you. And you're gonna be the ones crying because your grandmas, your grandpas, those people you claim you love, or whatever, is gonna be long gone. They ain't coming back once the shit goes down. And you don't think right now that these things can happen to you, but it's happening. It's already here. So wake the hell up and stop with this nonsense about browbeating and worrying about what the LGBTQ community in black spaces are doing. It's not going to save you. Not now. Figure out what you're going to do. Because nobody's going to be listening to you at the end of the day with the mess that you're putting out. It's just toxic and crazy. And if you want to sow seeds of toxic and crazy, go right ahead. It's not going to save you. You know, looking up to your master and sweet Jesus and light eyes and blue eyes and green eyes and putting them people on a pedestal, it's not going to save you, baby. It's too late for that. And you should have been listening to your ancestors who are crying out to you right now, telling you, stop it. Stop it. You're allowing your toxic people coming from other parts of the Caribbean and all these other places to come into your neighborhood, get in positions of power, and tell you you don't deserve anything. That chattel slavery wasn't that bad. These people have never lived in this country before, but just because they're brown, you voted for them, and now they're telling you don't deserve reparations. You don't deserve a roof over your head. You don't deserve insurance. You don't deserve nothing. And they're sitting there kowtowing to the non-melanated people. Make it make sense, because it doesn't. I want to thank you guys for listening. Please consider and show some love for people who are in mental health crisis. Acknowledge people when they're having their moments. And don't criticize and dog people out just because either you're jealous of them or you want to be sitting in the seat that they're in. We have a lot of that going on, and it's not going to save you, baby. It's not going to save you. So you best wake up and look around you, breathe some air, touch some grass, whatever you got to do, and get your mind right. Because what you're doing it's not going to get you nowhere, and it's not going to save you when shit goes down. Thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Bye.